Think about it, movie tie-in games have died, but movie tie-in games haven't. Wait. Hi, I'm Dylan, and what I'm saying is the genre of gamer-targeted, studio-made AAA movie tie-in games is dead, and nothing shows it better than this Habbo Hotel-esque iOS/Facebook game, The Hunger Games Adventures. Movie tie-in games have been around since, well, games have been around, and they've been widely regarded more often than not as garbagey cash grabs designed to capitalize on your love, but like your Tinder dates, they leave you disappointed. Bad Boys Miami Takedown featured voice actor replacements for Will Smith and Martin Lawrence who are so bad, I can't tell if they've actually come full circle to being genius again.
Damn, I needed that. Needed what? The first aid, or the guys to shoot your cojones off in the first place?
Fight Club also received a movie tie-in game. This time it was a Tekken clone that was released 5 years after the film. And while playing as Bob doesn't sound like any fun, in actuality, it still isn't any fun. Given only 5.5 weeks to develop, the E.T. video game is widely regarded as one of the worst video games of all time. The game's commercial failure is also named as a big contributor to the 1983 video game recession, in which video game revenue peaked at $3.2 billion and fell to $100 million in 1985. That being said, there are some movie tie-in games that are not only good, but genre-defining. Getting the obvious one out of the way, Goldeneye revolutionized first-person shooters on consoles in the same way that Dune did for PC shooters. The crazy thing about Goldeneye is their development team. They had never made a game before. Whether it was beginner's luck or just being unfettered by experience, they ended up making a genre-defining video game, which was followed up by a not-so-genre-defining one. Tomorrow Never Dies took the game exclusively to PlayStation and for some reason changed it to a third-person shooter that would awkwardly pull you into a much worse first-person mode when you were shooting, which was most of the time. Continuing the trend of games that are actually better than the movies they're based on, Dune 2, which was based on David Lynch's Dune, laid the foundations for the real-time strategy genre, which would later lead to Command & Conquer and Warcraft. Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay is the only actually good entry in the Riddick series. It was a beautiful mix of stealth, first-person, and adventure gameplay, and was way ahead of its time, featuring no heads-up display. Not to mention all the LEGO games, which are consistently great. Similar to fanfiction, movie tie-in games allow developers to play around in universes that are already fully developed, which sounds great, but for the most part, they suck, though for different reasons than fanfiction. Fanfictions are more often than not lower in quality due to the amateur status of the authors. Movie tie-in games, however, generally fall flat due to an entire lack of creativity or inspiration. But there is good news. The movie tie-in game is dead, or at least dying very quickly. Tie-in games were originally created to capitalize on everybody's love of a particular franchise, and they hoped that anyone who loved that franchise would buy that video game. But recently developers realized that console and PC games, specifically shooters and adventures, only appeal to hardcore gamers, and hardcore gamers only like good games, so making a low-quality movie tie-in games targeted at hardcore gamers was a bad investment. Instead, tie-in games are moving to mobile because iPhone games are much less niche than Xbox ones. In the late 80s and early 90s, 20% of all blockbuster movies had tie-in games. You might remember the side-scrolling Aladdin game, which was actually really good, or the not Telltale Back to the Future game, which was described as buy this at your own peril, or the Home Alone 2 game, which has received several awards for being the worst. Just the worst. While some of these games were in fact on mobile, back then the Game Boy, they still were only attracting the niche of the hardcore gamer. Though there was the Star Wars tie-in game in 1979 called Darth Vader's Force Battle, which was on the T-159 calculator, which was awesome. In 2010, 90% of blockbuster movies had tie-in games, and 100% of those games were for console or PC, and some of them featured mobile or browser ports. Alice in Wonderland, Harry Potter, How to Train Your Dragon all had pretty terrible PC and console tie-in games. Today, however, 80% of movie tie-in games are for mobile, and the remaining 20% are legacy titles. Titles like Spider-Man that have a long-running history of having console games. Guardians of the Galaxy, iPhone game. Frozen, Candy Crush ripoff. Planet of the Apes, Plague Inc. tie-in. While the hardcore gamer's movie game is dying, the hardcore gamer's fan-made movie game is getting bigger and bigger. The Hunger Games Minecraft is a popular game mode in Minecraft that follows the same rules as the Hunger Games. All players must kill each other, they often start in some sort of arena, and they must collect equipment from the surrounding areas. While not being an official movie tie-in game, it succeeds at captivating the hardcore gaming audience where so many more have failed. It keeps the franchise top of mind year-round for millions of fans in a way that the Hunger Games adventures never could. What do you guys think? Are you excited that the gamer-focused genre of movie tie-in games is dead? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, be sure to click right on my face to subscribe, or at least think about it. Last week we talked about interactive movies and full motion video. Let's see what you guys had to say. Kevin Jordan lets us know that the Clue movie had 3 different endings depending on what theater you went to, which is totally cool. I didn't actually know that. And I remember the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie, which had 3 titles, had a bunch of different endings after the credits for different movies you went to. Too bad that movie sucked though. And I haven't seen the Clue movie, but I'm gonna guess it was Colonel Sanders in the billiard room with the lead pipe. Unless that's a pipe dream. That hurts. Tom Foodie thinks that Destiny is a great game and reminds him of Borderlands. I was, like most of you, really excited for Destiny because it was Bungie's new game, and to me it looked like Mass Effect meets Halo a little bit, meets Borderlands, and then it came out, and I honestly don't know that I could say anything good about that game. I thoroughly didn't like it. That means I liked it. I thoroughly did not like it. I'm sorry, guys. A lot of you are asking about these Swedish and Latvian subtitles that I used, and sorry, Swedish and Latvian people, I wasn't trying to make the video more understandable for you. It just so happened that the clips I picked had subtitles burned right into them, and I couldn't turn them off or anything. So, right. Though it seemed like most of you really liked that, so maybe I should just subtitle all the videos in Swedish and Latvian at the same time. Christianness criticizes my definition of game because it means that everything could be a video game, including like quizzes or like manual board games that don't involve electricity. I would think maybe they have to have some level of electricity in them. I wouldn't want to say a screen because then stuff like that Microsoft projectory thingy project, what was that called? The Microsoft projector room, that would maybe not be considered a board game because it's not technically, or a video game because it's not technically a screen. So maybe it's not the fact that it involves a screen, but more so electricity, right? If you guys want, I can do a video about what I think a game is, but in the meantime, I'll point you over to PBS Game Show and Extra Credits. Both of them have done really good videos about what is a game. But let me know if you want me to do one and I'll do it. This last comment I'm just gonna have to read to you because it's purely amazing. Washiest Milk 11 says, "You talk like the Vsauce guy and Rob Dyke. It's like they had a butt baby and his name was Dylan." And that got a bunch of upvotes. Or likes. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the comments.